Glory! Stately pillars at 5. God has been so faithful and good to us. Stately pillars clocks 5 this April 2024. It has been an awesome experience so far. Stately pillars started 27th of April 2019 with 30 ladies in a physical meeting that was held at Flower Garden, Epsilon, Kwara State. It was an awesome time in God's presence and we were blessed tremendously. But when COVID came in 2020, we had to stop the physical meeting and move the program to a virtual meeting weekly. Every week we meet together on WhatsApp to teach, to pray, to nurture, and to be blessed by God every week on Stately Pillars WhatsApp group. And it has been a very awesome experience with testimonies here and there, with people getting blessed, finding direction and being able to navigate through life, through the lessons and teachings that we've been able to get on Stately Pillars. And after them, we saw a vision and a need that we don't just have to be blessing ourselves in the community alone, but we have to reach out to the community outside as well to be a blessing to them. And that was when December to Remember came to be. In 2020, we were at Korafoju and School of Handicap to rejoice with them, to fellowship with them, and to also impact them with the little that we have. And then in 2021, we went to Toromore, where we were able to minister to the needs of the school and be able to supply them with the needs of the students and also the teachers as well in Toromore. And in 2022, we were at UITH to minister and be a blessing to children that has cancer and they've been in the hospital on admission and they need money one way or the other to be able to cater for their hospital needs. We're able to help some of them as God has given us the grace to do so. And in 2023, which is one of the ones that I love most, we're able to give and set up businesses for widows that do not have any help whatsoever coming from anywhere for them to start a business that they will be able to take care of their family, their children, and be able to live a life as every one of us are able to. And through this, we're able to set them up on their businesses, and today they are doing so well, doing wonderfully, and they're thanking the Lord for the blessings that they have received. When Stately Pillars clocked 4, and during our 40th anniversary, we decided that we need to do something different. Because on Stately Pillars, we have both the married and the singles meeting together weekly to fellowship and to learn. But we come to understand that the need of the married is actually different from the need of the single. So thus, we saw a need that we need to create another section and another arm of Stately Pillars, and we call that Pillars in the Palace. Pillars in the Palace is a group for purely married women where we come together to talk about issues that has to do with married responsibilities, not forgetting our vision, fulfilling purpose, and living a balanced life as a married woman. The group has been growing in leaps and in bounds as we are blessing ourselves, learning from one another, learning from each other, and getting better by the day as God is giving us the strength. From December to Remember, we moved on to see a need to gather together at least once in a year to hold a conference where we energize ourselves, where we grow ourselves, and where we learn together as God's children. And that was when Pillars Conference was battered. The maiden edition of Pillars Conference was held at Believers Heritage Baptist Church, Epsilon, Kwara State, the year 2022. And the theme of the program was The Scepter. It was an amazing time in God's presence as we received the ministration of Pastor Temi Arel, Reverend Mrs. Ellen Oyeguke, and Pastor Bolaji Odejide. And in 2023, we came together again to be blessed of the Lord and to release us into grace and power as we consider the theme, Lioness Emerging, with the ministration of Pastor Mary Christy Lere and Lady Evangelist Omolewa Ahmed, and our own dear Reverend Bolaji Odejide. Scepter and Lioness Emerging of State Class Conference was a good time, and it was an awesome experience in the presence of the Lord as we refuel for the journey ahead. We thank God for what God has been doing, and we know we are excited and we are waiting patiently for what God is going to be doing in Pillars Conference 2024. And here we are, 5 years already. Thank God for His faithfulness over our lives. And as we thank God and as we celebrate our 5 years anniversary, we look back and we see what God has done, and we also look ahead to more better, glorious, and wonderful years to come together. So I say cheers to purpose fulfillment. I say cheers to a wonderful year together. I say cheers to learning and relearning and becoming better in the household of God. I say cheers to doing much more together in love, in unity, in peace, and in joy. Stately pillars at 5. Keep living, keep rejoicing, keep enjoying God's presence, and keep doing so well for the Lord.
Hello everyone, come, let us delve into the mind of a visionary, a woman who has helped countless number of women in polishing, refining, and getting their vision. My name is Abolari Gloria Kemi. I am a pillar in Stately Pillars, and today is our 5 years anniversary. Yes, 5 years, don't waka, and see the carry go. And with me today is nobody else than a quintessential woman, a silent but loud woman of wisdom and strength, an epitome of love, an embodiment of grace and value. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I welcome Pastor Mrs. Opeyemi Odejide on stage. Mommy, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
On our invitation.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here this afternoon. Yes. It's so good to see your face again.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's a privilege to be here today, and I don't take that for granted. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. So today we have a series of questions for you, right?
All right.
We have prepared them at a load.
Oh, I do.
I hope you're ready. Yes,
I do.
Okay, so before we start, we want to meet you. We want to know you. Who is Opeyemi Odejide?
Opeyemi Odejide is... Where do I start from? Well...
Anyway, we are ready.
Opeyemi Odejide is a mother, wife, an ardent reader. I love reading. An ardent reader, a lover of God, passionate about families, seeing family grow, seeing family happy, seeing people enjoying their home, passionate about purpose fulfillment and everything that has to do with vision and purpose, especially for the female gender, because I discovered that it is very possible to have men that are doing so much more out there, while the women are just taking the back role and not really working to see what they can actually also do in this life. So I am passionate about seeing women doing so much more for God, for themselves, for their families, in all ramifications and in all spheres of life. So anything that has to do with that, count me in.
Wow.
I'm there.
Wow. You've heard it from the horse's mouth, like exactly as it is. Oh, wow. Wow, it's nice to meet you, Mommy.
Thank you.
We have a series of questions on Stately Pillars. Today is our 5 years anniversary.
Yes.
5 years. Oh, we are so glad.
Thank God. Thank God.
We are sure. So we want to ask you a few questions on how you started. How did you start the vision? How did everything start with Stately Pillars?
Okay. Stately Pillars started from a passion and a concern. I remembered vividly, 6 years ago, I was in my house where we were staying before, and a lady walked up to me. She came over to the house and she started asking me questions that has to do with relationship, that has to do with purpose, that has to do with vision fulfillment. And we were just talking generally, and we were able to provide some wisdom and instructions on what to do. Then after she left that day, I remembered lying down on the chair, and I was just thinking in my mind based on one particular statement that she uttered. After talking and the whole thing, she said, "Thank you very much, Mama. I'm so happy that at least I could find someone to give me instruction and wisdom on how to navigate through life." So when she left, I sat down and that one was ringing in my mind, and I was thinking that I wonder how many ladies out there need instruction and wisdom to navigate through life, especially in relationships, in marriage, and also finding their purpose and fulfilling it. And from that day onward, I started having this very strong concern and passion to see how I can help. So anyone I see, one or two, I ask them, what's up with your relationship? What's up with marriage? How you doing? I hope you have a vision. I hope you have a future. I hope you are thinking about your life. And it began to grow the more in my heart every day. And as I was praying about it, I remember then that my husband was not around. He traveled for a revival, and I was home for those 3 days, ruminating about it on what can I do? How can I move this thing forward? How can I make sure that I can be a blessing to ladies that have questions in their hearts about relationship, especially, and about vision and purpose? And I was thinking of, can I start something that has to do with just gathering ladies together, and then we'll talk generally. It's just going to be based on discussion. And as I was thinking about that, 3 days after then, my husband came back. He went for a revival, and he came and he said something. He said he doesn't know, but he has been having this strong concern in his heart that God is calling me to do something. And I've been thinking about it as well. That has to do with purpose and relationship for ladies. And when he said that, it was as if they struck a chord in my heart. I was like, wow, this is it. This is it. So it began to bubble in my spirit every day. And I'm like, how can I do this? How can I get this thing done? And we started then with, I think, maybe around 20 to 25 thereabouts ladies. We got a hall in Flower Garden, and then we'll meet together physically. And we're holding the meeting once every month on issues of relationship, on issues of marriage, on issues of purpose. We'll come, we'll discuss, we'll take topics, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll take time to also pray. Sometimes we'll come and we'll just study the Bible. And that was how 30 Pillars came about. And I remember God giving me a word from Psalms, say that may our daughters be like pillars that have been called to adorn their palace. Yes. And I've come to understand that there's no how you can be a pillar in the palace without understanding your purpose and knowing how to align that purpose in your marriage. So that was how 30 Pillars started. We started in a hall around Flower Garden. We meet once every month, and we discuss everything that has to do with our lives. And from there, little by little, little by little, little by little, we go to 50 to 55. Later, when COVID came, we had to stop the physical meeting and see how we can be meeting, because we couldn't meet again physically. And that was when the idea of, okay, can we go online? Can we start a WhatsApp group? Or should it be Telegram? Which one should we do? And then we came about and said, okay, let's just start with a WhatsApp group first and see. And I could say that, well, that is one of the best decisions that I think I made for 30 Pillars. That is one of the best decisions, because when we started the virtual meeting, it was as if God was waiting for us to start that platform, and the whole thing just went abroad, went to different places. You see people from Mina joining, you see people from Abuja, you see people from Lagos, from Ekiti, from United States of America, you see people from UK, from different places all over the earth coming to join 30 Pillars. And from there, we're able to reach quite a number. And we grew from just 55, we grew to 400 to 500. And then the meeting started, and we started doing the meeting every week. In fact, I think it was yesterday I was still thinking that, are you telling me that we are 5 already? Lie. When did we start this thing? But here we are today. We thank God for the journey so far, and we give God praise. It has been wonderful.
Wow. I've learned a lot in this short testimony that she has just given. I'm calling it testimony because what? How did she start it? Like, how did she start all this? Wow. It's so good. Okay, mommy, so when you started, were there challenges along the way? Did you encounter any challenges along the way?
There were challenges. Like I used to say, fulfilling purpose is not bed of roses. You know, sometimes they make us to see that purpose fulfillment is just about, you just be getting everything right. Pam. Everything will just be working, and it will just be on a very smooth sailing and journey. No, it's not like that. There are sometimes that you meet difficulties, you meet challenges, even while fulfilling purpose. But that doesn't mean that your vision is not valid. It means that you just need to work more to make sure that you achieve that which God has given to your heart to achieve. I know of days when people say a lot of things. People say a lot of things. Why is she gathering them together? Why are you bringing them from different places? Do you also want to start a women group? You know, you hear people say a lot of things, and sometimes you get discouraged and you're like, I just want to impact people. I just want to be a blessing. I just want people to be blessed. That's all. And apart from that, I know of days that you hear issues that pillars are passing through. I've had to cry with some, have had to stay and tarry with some on different challenges of life. I've had to go all out to see how we can get some things done based on the challenges and the issues that they are facing in life. And sometimes you just like, why is this thing happening to this person? As good as this person is, why? But because we've come to understand that it is part of life, challenges come and then you are able to overcome it. And also challenges of even coming up with programs
That's true.
that will edify people every week, making sure that I hope this program I'm doing, I hope this topic is going to be able to meet the need of these people. I hope I'm not just gathering them together to waste their time. I hope I'm actually blessing them and knowing that I am doing it right. It goes a long way. I know of days when I might even be under the duvet shaking, down with malaria or with stress, and I'm just checking, and I still have to hold Stately Pillars meeting, and I'll still be typing, dropping messages on Stately Pillars group, despite the fact that my body is weak and I'm down with stress and malaria, and we still have to continue. But I've come to understand that even all through that, just make sure that you are focused on what God has called you to, irrespective of the challenges. Give it all it takes. Go on, do it the way God has called you to do it, and with that, success is sure, and then the impact will be there.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mama, have you ever in a time feel like things are not working well? And what do you do on days like that? For example, there are people that have vision, but along the way, they will be faced with several challenges and they'll be overwhelmed. And they'll be like, maybe I should not do it again. Have you ever made thought of that? Is there any time you feel like, I don't want to do this again? Have there been any time like that? If there have been a time like that, what did you do to overcome those stages?
There have been a time like that too. It's not even once, several times that just like I said the other time, that I just pause and wonder that, am I sure I'm doing this thing right? Am I supposed to be doing this? Am I blessing people? I hope they are getting blessed. I hope I'm meeting their needs. There have been times like that that I will actually stay and wonder if I'm actually doing it the right way, that I'm supposed to do it. But, you know, our God is a loving God. And even sometimes before we say some things, He sees into our hearts, and then He provides an answer for the questions in our hearts. I can't count how many times that I'll be in that particular stage that I'm thinking that, am I sure I'm doing something right? Am I getting it right in Stately Pillars? And before that day ends, a pillar out of nowhere, in fact, sometimes I don't even know them, but I just know that they're pillars. They'll just chat me and say, hello, Mama, good afternoon. I hope you're fine. I hope you're doing well. And we'll just come up with testimonies of how she has been blessed on Stately Pillars. And some of them will just reach out and say, Mama, thank you so much for all you do. Although I don't really talk on the group, but you've been a blessing to me on this. It encourages me. So it's just, I see it as God's way of giving me answers on days when I am down, to let me know that, daughter, I am with you. You are doing it well. You are on track. You are getting it right. So when I get testimonies like that, especially on days that I am down and I'm thinking that I hope I'm doing it right, I feel so happy, and then it gives me the courage and the strength to move on, to go on and say, okay, fine, I think we are doing something right here. Yes. Let's come up with other things. What can we do again? How can we bless life again? What other thing can we do that can make people to be blessed? And on other days also, I see when I find myself in that particular state, in that particular state, sometimes I will just be praying and then God will just minister his word to me, say, okay, move on. For John, go ahead. I am with you. I am there with you. And it will so much encourage me. So many times in these two ways, sometimes God sends people to me to encourage me. And then at times I will have to go back to God and say, God, what exactly can I do more? To get a reassurance and to also get instruction for the next phase. I remembered when we clocked 3 then, and I think it was when we clocked 3 that the group just, it was just like a surge. The numbers just grew. I could not imagine. The number just grew so much. And when I saw that, I was scared. I was like, God, what is happening here? This number is growing so much that I hope I am capable to be able to meet the needs of these people. I had to run back to God and ask that, God, can you give me the next footprint on what to do and how to do it so that we will continue on this phase and we will continue to be a blessing to people. So most times God used people for me, and also crawling back to him and telling him that, God, how do we want to go next? And he encourages me and brings his words of encouragement most times. So I say with that, it has been sometimes up, sometimes down, but most times it has been up and up and up and up. But we have had our down times as well.
You've all heard it. We've had our down times as well. I'm a pillar too, so yes, I understand. And you heard it from her. You heard what she said. It can't always be smooth. There will be ups, there will be down. But in times of down, you should go back to God in prayer. God can use anyone to encourage you. God can use people. He can use his word. But don't forget to always go back to God. He's the source. He's the one that asks you to go and do it. You should always go back to him. So, Mama, we have another question for you. And the question is, how were you able to balance ministry, work, and what is it called? Family together. How were you able to do that? It's a lot. We need that cheat code.
I get that question every time. And I know it's not going to sound like a cliche, but the sincere thing there is that God is number one. My strength has always come from my relationship with God. He has always been the support, the number one support that I've always gone to draw from. And he has been the one that has been supplying the strength. That is one. And then secondly, I could say that one thing that I've been able to master that has really helped me in balancing ministry, family, work, and so many other responsibilities together is that I try as much as possible to set my priorities. Things that are not supposed to be on my list. I don't have time for frivolities. I don't have time for things that are not really beneficial to me. You cannot see me going from one place to the other, chatting and keeping so many friends, and then we'll just sit down, gossip and talk about people. Life is way much more important than that. So I set my priorities straight. I understand that family is important to me. So I place my family on my top priority list. I understand that ministry is important to me. So anyone that has to do with pillars, I place them on my top priority list. I understand that my work is also important to me. I place my work on my top priority list. So things that matters to me and comes up on my value list, I place them on my top priority list. Every other thing that does not really suit well, you have to come after those ones. You have to come after those ones. So as much as possible, I try to keep in tab of my family, of my ministry, of my work, and my responsibilities, even to my community as well. So every other thing, I no time.
For real, no time.
No time. So I just pay attention to things that really matters in my life, set my priorities, and I'm focused on it. And with that, I've been able to get quite a number of things done as God has been helping on that list. And I believe that anyone that wants to really do well in life and you want to fulfill purpose in life, you must understand that you are not everybody and you are not anybody. So if others have the time and the energy to waste, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You don't.
Mama.
You don't.
That's the word.
So you just have to pay attention to things that matters to you so that you can also matter out there.
Did you hear that? You have to pay attention to things that matters to you so that you can also matter out there. Wow. That's a great one. That's a great one. And then you've heard her again. You have to set your priorities right. You have to set your priorities right. As much as you go to God, plan your day, plan everything. Know the things you have to do urgently and things you can do later on. Thank you so much, Mama, for that. That's a really deep one.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we have another one. It's about people that has vision but are scared to start. What advice can you give them to start?
I'll say that for every one of us, God has given an assignment and a vision for us. And there's an expectation from God for that which He has committed into your hands to do. Then understanding that there are timelines and seasons to every vision that is given by God. So you must understand your timelines and seasons. If you have been given a vision for a time like this, but you go to sleep and you just lay back and you are waiting for everything to be fine before you start, it won't work that way. I understand the fact as well that you can be scared. How is it going to turn out? How is it going to work out? Will it work out? I think that's one of the questions that comes up in the heart of people. Shoma, work, why?
Exactly.
What if it doesn't work? And then I ask them, what if it works? So instead of asking yourself so many times, what if it does not work? Why don't you ask yourself and focus more on what if it works? It will give you this energy and this mind that it can work. I can do it. So I will advise that overcome that fear and just start from where you are. You don't need to start all big and all loud and everywhere and everybody is talking about it. Steps. Take your baby steps and start from there. And as you are starting and you are taking those baby steps, trust God to give you a broadened vision to know the next thing to do, to know the next step to take. And as you are taking those steps, you are moving towards the actualization of what you have in mind. But if you are waiting for everything to be set, you know, sometimes why people don't start and why people don't get things done is because we want everything to be fine.
Perfect.
Everything to be perfect. So we are waiting for that perfect time. There's no perfect time. There's no perfect time. So what God has given to you, let there be this sense of urgency. Especially when you know that it is for a season and for a time. And one thing about season and time is that season comes, season goes. So if you don't understand the season that God has called you into for that purpose fulfillment, and you're just laying back, the season will go. And then God is already moving on to another thing, and you are still here waiting that I am waiting for that time. I hear people talk about visions that God has given them 10 years ago, and you are asking, what have you done about it? It's still on a book. And you have not done anything about it. So don't wait until when everything is perfect. Don't wait on when everything is set before you start. Whatsoever your hand finds doing, do it. If God has called you to reach out to 1,000 people, reach out to one first. And from that one, reach out to 2. From that, go to 3, go to 5, go to 10. And then little by little, you begin to grow it. So don't wait until when everything is fine and perfect and you have that congregation gathered somewhere or you have that people everywhere and then you have that money. If God has called you to be a kingdom financier, it is not until when you have your millions, your 1,000 naira, your 500 naira. Start with that and know that at least I have kickstarted this purpose. And from there, I will continue to take my baby steps until I am formed into what God has called me to do in its own entirety. So what I would say is that time they go. You don't waka, sit down for that point for too long. I think it's high time that you stand and you get something done.
Okay, so Mama, is it possible for someone to exist without vision, without purpose, without anything? Because there are sometimes that I have discussions with people and they'll be like, I don't have a purpose, I don't have a vision, I don't know it yet. Some will say I don't know it yet, fine. Some will say that I don't have. Like, what advice will you give those people that say that? And is it even possible for people to exist without a purpose? a vision, a goal, or anything?
You can live without a purpose, but you are not existing.
Mama Tuti Jukaleo.
Because it is in your existence that your purpose lies. It is when you are fulfilling purpose that you are actually existing and you are blessing lives. And you know that I'm actually living my life. But it is possible for you to just be there and you are living and there's no purpose. But there's no purpose without existence. So if you're actually existing and you are doing what God has called you to, then you're on the right track. I can take that it's possible for people to say that I don't know my purpose, but I can't take the word I don't have a purpose. Because you don't know it does not mean that you don't have one. Everything that was made with an intention to meet a need. God is not a wasteful creator. He doesn't make anything without having a reason for it. Most especially we humans that he made in his own likeness. He has a purpose for every life. For every one of us, there is a purpose. You might not know it, but that doesn't mean that you do not have one. So I can say it authoritatively that every one of us born into this world has a purpose. There's a purpose in the heart of God for bringing you to the world. There's a purpose in the heart of God for bringing you to the country where you are. There's a purpose in the heart of God for bringing you to that family that you were born into. There's a purpose in the heart of God for making you to be in a relationship with the people that you have a relationship with. There's a purpose in the heart of God for making you to be working where you are working presently. There's a purpose in the heart of God for making you to be doing the business that you are doing. But not until when you come to understand that he has a purpose in mind. He is not wasteful. He doesn't just do things anyhow. He has a purpose in his heart for you. And understanding that will be able to give a direction, a form of direction for every one of us to know that I need to find it. So if you have not found it, does not mean that you do not have one. So in finding your purpose is first and foremost understanding that I have a purpose. There's a usefulness in me, for me, and for the world. Understanding that. And then the second thing is sitting down, prayerfully asking God that, why have you brought me to this world? Or why am I still alive until this particular moment? What exactly do you want me to do in my time here on earth? Then prayerfully seeking God's face to know it. It will go a long way. And I can also drop some nuggets or some things that you could pay attention to help you to know the purpose for your existence. Some of us will find our purpose in our passion, in our burden, in what you have burden for, in what you want to see a change in. You can find your purpose in that. You just have burden towards this particular area, towards this particular aspect. It is possible that God is pointing your attention to your purpose in that. Some of us will find our purpose in our fulfillment, in our satisfaction. What are those things that you just find joy in doing? It can be a pointer to what God has called you to do or to the purpose of your life. Some of us will find purpose in the things that we have passed through, in the events of our lives. You can find purpose in it. I know someone that started a heart foundation because at a particular time in his life, he had a problem with his heart. And he was able to navigate through that season of his life with the help of family and with people coming to surround him. And he was able to come out. And as soon as he came out of that, he said he will do everything in his power and his might to see that whoever it is that he comes in contact with that are having issues with their heart is going to make sure that he helps them to find solutions to it through surgeries and through any aspect that God is going to be helping with. So it is very possible that even through the events of your life, through the challenges of your life, Scripture says that with the same comfort that you have received, you go ahead and comfort others. So it is very possible that through your life challenges as well, you can find purpose in it. So it takes you to sit down and start thinking prayerfully, not just calculating and permutating here. You know, it's very possible for you to just permutate and say, I'm 1 and 2. By the time we add 3 and 4 together, I think this is what I should be doing. No. But prayerfully, seeking God's face to know what He wants you to do. And then also, it might even be in your talents, in your skills, in your giftings, that you also find your purpose in it. Some people are just good in just making people smile, making people to be happy. They just find a way of taking that burden off you. It might be a pointer to your purpose as well. So these things can point you to directions in life that you can go, that you can find purpose in. But don't forget, God is the giver of every purpose. So in everything that you are doing, in finding purpose for your life, make sure that you do not leave God out of it. Let Him be the one that will okay it and say, go ahead with this. You can do this. This is what I want you to do. And as you are doing that, you discover that as you start, and as you are taking those steps, it gets clearer. It gets clearer. It gets clearer. Everything will not be clear when you are starting. Yes. It will not be clear at once. But so far, you are not sitting down and you are ready to take those steps and you move out. As you take those steps, it gets clearer by the day. It gets clearer by the day. And God is going to be helping you to get better even as you go on that journey. So there's nobody that does not have a purpose. Every one of us have. It's just to discover it and to execute it.
Thank you so much for that, Mom. Thank you so much. You've heard it from Mama. She has actually mentioned 4 points right here. You have to accept, know that yes, you have purpose. You need to accept it. Then you need to go to God. You can't do it on your own. You need to seek God's face. Ask God about it. And even after going to God, you have to pay attention. Pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to things around you. Pay attention to things you're interested in. And lastly, take the step. Don't just sit around. There is time and season for everything. Thank you so much, Mommy. We are so glad. We are so grateful. We are so grateful to have you in our midst. Thank you for the words of advice. We've been blessed. I personally have been blessed, and I'm sure that you've been blessed too. So that's take us to the end of an interview session with Mama today. My name remains Abolarin Gloria Kemi. I'm a pillar in Stately Pillars. See you next time.
Bye.